Welcome to the Tool Review channel. Today we're taking a look at the Mary 2050-185 combination linesman pliers. So to start off the video here, the Mary brand of pliers, they are made in Japan, so they have that nice Japanese finish and high level of functionality. So you can see right here, you have the model number laser etched onto the surface. You have the Mary name laser etched onto the surface as well. And you can see the rivet is close to the cutting edge, which is going to make it a lot easier to cut through material than when the rivet is a little bit set farther back. And you can see right here, you have a nice large cutting edge right there. And you can see you have the teeth on the front of the pliers, and they are all going in the same direction. And then coming over to this side, you have some sort of black coating on this side of the pliers, and then you have a bunch of nice circular opening with some teeth, so if you need to grip onto like a bolt or a nut, you could use those teeth to grip onto that as well. And then you have these black and yellow handles. Now when you buy these pliers, they are advertised with all yellow handles, and when I got them, they came with the yellow and black handles. So if Mary or whoever is selling the tool, I do recommend you update the picture so you don't, trick people into thinking they're going to get something and they get something completely different. But as you can see, you have a nice comfort grip style handles. It's a nice hard rubber, but it's also not really that soft as well. But it does feel comfortable in the hands. And then you can see on the inside of the handle, on both sides, it says Mary right there, and then obviously Japan. And then coming to the end of the plier, you can see you have a tether point right there and right there. So if you were working at a height with these pliers, you could tether them off and not have to worry about them falling down below. So let's go ahead and zoom out here and get some of the functionality of these pliers. So we're going to first start off with some 18 gauge solid wire, and we're going to see how well we can cut through that. And we'll go ahead and put that guy in the cutting edge. And as you can see right there, we are able to cut through that 18 gauge solid wire, no problem whatsoever. So go ahead and set that off to the side, and we'll bring in our next wire, which is some 18 gauge stranded wire. So I'll go ahead and bring this in. And as you can see, we are able to cut through that 18 gauge stranded wire, no problem whatsoever. So go ahead and set that off to the side and bring in our next wire, which is some 14 gauge stranded wire. So go ahead and cut through that. And as you can see right there, you have no problem, and you actually don't really have to use that much effort to cut through that 14 gauge stranded wire at all. And now we're going to bring in some 14 gauge solid wire and see how well we can cut through that. And we'll go ahead and put that in the cutting edge right there. And as you can see right there, you are cut through that super easy, which is nice. And then the pieces do like to get caught in there. But as you can see, you are able to cut through that 14 gauge solid wire, no problem whatsoever. So now we're going to bring in some 12 gauge stranded wire and see how well we can cut through that. So go ahead and put that in the jaws, and as you can see right there, it does have a nice snapping sound to it when you cut through the wire, as you can see right there. And you don't really feel it at all, which is nice. And as you can see right there, you are able to cut through that 12 gauge stranded wire, no problem. So go ahead and bring in some 12 gauge solid wire and go ahead and cut through that. And as you can see right there, you have no problem whatsoever. You definitely have to use a little bit more force than the stranded wire to get through it, but you are able to cut through that solid wire, no problem whatsoever. So go ahead and put that off to the side. We'll bring in some 10 gauge stranded wire right here and see how well we can cut through that. And as you can see right there, we are able to cut through that 10 gauge stranded wire, no problem whatsoever. Those cutting jaws are super sharp. And as you can see, you can't really see through the back of them, so they are super close, which is nice as well. And now we'll bring in our final wire, which is a 18.5 thermostat wire. So it's 5 18 gauge wires in one, and we'll go ahead and see if we can cut through that. And there's also a little piece of insulation that runs throughout this wire, and we're going to see if we can cut through that as well. And as you can see right there, we are able to cut through that, no problem whatsoever. So we'll go ahead and clear that out of the background, and we'll bring these pliers back in. And as you can see, you do have some kind of rounded off edges, so if you needed to remount a pipe, like a piece of conduit or a piece of copper after you're cutting it, you can do that and cut those burrs off the side. So overall, these are definitely a nice pair of pliers from Mary. They're obviously made in Japan, so they are a nice high quality tool. Now I believe you can only get them, besides eBay, you can get them from, I believe the website's Nile Mary, which they specialize in selling all the Mary and Nile products. I'm not sure if that's the same company or what it is, but they do specialize in selling the Mary brand of pliers. I believe they're based out of Ohio. That's where I picked these up from, so I will leave a link to their website down in the description below. But as you saw, they are a fairly nice pair of pliers. And they're super easy to use and super comfortable to use as well. Now, the one thing I would have liked to have seen them do differently is maybe put a cross hatch design here on the jaws. I do like how the circular opening does have teeth, so if you needed to grip onto like a screw or a giant bolt, maybe you want to tighten it down or hold, you know, a nut in place while you're tightening the screw down in place with that. I do like how they included that, but it would have been nice to see them put some cross hatching on the nose of the plier. But overall, these are definitely a nice pair of pliers, and I can easily recommend them to anyone looking for a nice pair of pliers. So overall, these are definitely a nice pair of pliers, and I highly recommend them. But that is about it for this video. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. And if you are new to the channel and you would like to see more content like this, please consider smashing that subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. And if you did enjoy the video, please consider giving it a thumbs up as well. But that's all I have for this video, so thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next video to be uploaded.